My next guest is a Titans legend and one of the best defensive linemen we've seen in the NFL, probably all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Albert Haynesworth. Albert, is everything going for you?
I'm great. Just enjoying the sunshine right now.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you, so you got an awesome transplant, got the kidney. What was that whole process like? And then how relieved are you that it's kind of finally passed you?
The process, I mean, as far as dialysis and things like that, or the actual kidney transplant itself?
Just like finding the donor and then kind of how that all came together.
Well, like a couple years ago, I put the post out, that what was going on with me. And we had a bunch of people. I mean, I think Bandy told me about 2,000 people that tried to donate. And, it was just a process. So through that time, I was doing dialysis. And I think Zach had tried to, or he entered that system, I think in that July that I put that post out. And it was just, he got, I guess, selected, and it was great. Like September, October, I believe, of last year. And I had COVID, I had pneumonia, I had, all these things. So I wasn't able to, get the transplant until this April.
Oh, wow. That's unbelievable. And then, so what was it like when they said, all right, it's all done, you're good, like you're ready to get out of here?
Like after the surgery?
Yeah. What was that like? Just moment, I made it.
I did. And I was still really, really sore and still dealing with a lot of pain and things. So you don't really, like I can urinate on my own, and which I was always able to do. But now that I didn't have to do dialysis, that was great. But still, I had to wait because I wasn't feeling that great because of the major surgery. But then as time goes now, I feel excellent. And all my friends was like, man, you look like even better. And I said, well, I know I'm a good looking guy, but they're like, it's now even better. I said, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And then, so have you stayed in touch with the guy? You said his name was Zach?
Yeah, Zach Penny. Yeah, I talked to Zach probably at least once a week.
Oh, cool.
I talked to him yesterday. So of course, with all this, the news and stuff like that, I had a National Kidney Foundation for like Missouri. They wanted to invite me to a golf tournament. So I said, hey, will you pay for him and his wife to come and play golf? So they're going to do that, and it's going to be excellent.
That's awesome. Well, glad you're doing. Glad we're finally getting moving past this pandemic, because last year's been horrible for a lot of people. But I wanted to ask your thoughts on some of the NFL offseason. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at with some of these teams a lot of teams made some moves, not only big edge rusher moves, but are there any guys that kind of switched teams that kind of caught your attention?
I hate that we lost Javon Clowney. Like Clowney, I was hoping he would came back to the Titans. Everybody's talking about like his stats, but if you really watch the game, he did great when he was playing. He got a lot of pressure, and the way the system worked, or the way the Titans system worked, they didn't help him a whole lot. So if they really let like Jeff loose and let him play, they can have a dominant team. But now that Clowney's gone, that sucks. But he was a great player, but now he's at where is he at? The Browns, right? So they're gonna be good. Yeah. Like the Browns are gonna be. I hate to admit this, because I got friends that are huge Brown fans, but they're gonna be a legit team. They have a lot of talent, and once they figure it out and put it all together, they're gonna be literally a legit team.
What kind of a job do you think Vrabel's done so far in Nashville?
I think he's done, okay. I don't say anything. Only thing I like is like for him to, get the defense better. The offenses take care of itself. You got Derrick Henry, that is truly killing it. And then you got then you have Tannehill, who can create some things and really I don't say take over the game, but he can help a ton. And now you get him some weapons. I think they're gonna be great, but I think Vrabel needs to get the defense better. I didn't like him calling the plays last year, and I really think it's still the same thing this year. He just put another layer in so he can blame the guy who took the defensive coordinator job. It's still going to be kind of Vrabel, doing this thing. So,
yeah. And then I know you said before we started recording, you said you'd love to. You said you'd part with a second rounder to bring Julio Jones into town.
Oh, absolutely. How long is this contract? How much does he have left on his contract?
I'm not sure, but I think it's probably paid off. I'm sure the reason he's willing to move is because he could probably restructure and get a new deal.
Yeah, I would absolutely, trade a second round pick for Julio because, and he wants to come here. I mean, Titans need to make that happen, but it seemed like they're probably trying to wait to, training camp and all that stuff. Hopefully the price would drop a little bit because I think wasn't it first round at first, which
you're not getting the first round.
They're not
ask for it. No.
Yeah, but second round definitely is a viable option.
Yeah, and then what do you thought of AJ Brown through his first 2 years?
Oh man, kid's been excellent, great player. But of course, he's SEC, so what do you expect? So he's been doing totally great. Sorry, I got to move here. It's freaking hot out here now. He was. Just dynamic. He was picked up in second round.
Yeah.
Just a great player to develop into this a hell of a player.
Yeah. And then with Derrick Henry, did you ever see this coming? I know he was kind of like in the back of the depth chart for a couple of years early on. I think first it was they had Deion Lewis. Did they have drawing a blank from who was with Dallas, the running back?
Oh
my God.
Yeah, it was a guy.
He's at Oklahoma now.
Yeah, I know.
He'll come to me. Yeah, but as he exceeded, did you ever see this from him? I know he won the Heisman, but I think it was his second, third round pick.
Yeah, I know he had a talent. He didn't play a whole lot those times because he wasn't good on the blocking, on the protection, but he still had his game. And they more tailor that offense for him, like him running downhill and things like that instead of, trying to do sideways stuff. Like that's not his game. You got to just, run him downhill and let him punish the defense. But I think he didn't play a whole lot just because he missed a lot of blocks, early on in his career, which was very crucial for the Titans.
Do you think they should decrease his workload, or do you think he can keep up with it?
Now, I think it definitely should decrease his workload. I think they need to get another really good running back. I wouldn't have been mad if they had picked one in the second round or something like that, you just don't want to run him out. He is your leader, but he's 35 carries a game and stuff, man. It's gonna take its toll. He works hard and stuff, but he can't defy. You still get pounded, 35, 40 times a game, for what now is going to be 17 weeks. They definitely need a 1-2 punch and probably take him down to about 20, 25 carries would be good.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you, because you spent some time in D.C. and now Washington's defensive line is arguably one of the best. What have been your thoughts on Chase Young and Montez Sweat, Daron Payne, and Jonathan Allen?
And them guys are freaking doing it. Incredible. I wish I had a deal on that. Not that my guys were bad or anything that I played with, but they're just letting them play, and Chase Young, I mean, is being the leader on that team. I mean, you see him getting into, like, older players. I mean, I like the kid. I mean, I think a great pickup. I mean, an amazing pickup for him. And I think he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. As long as he doesn't get hurt, I think he'll be definitely a Hall of Famer.
Does he remind you of any of the edge rushers that were around in the league when you played?
Yeah, I'm trying to think more. He's probably more like a It's kind of hard to say when I was playing. I'm trying to think. Because he can power a guy. It's kind of like a little bit like Kevin Carter, but Kevin Carter was very powerful, but he didn't use his power. But Chase Young can use his power and he can use his legs. So I think that's awesome. So it's kind of hard to say who exactly, like, who he plays like without really blowing his head up. I mean, it's kind of like a Reggie White type, to be honest. I mean, he has that talent.
That's high praise. I hope he. I can't wait to see what he does this season in year 2. But in the last year, it was unbelievable. And I want to ask you, in your opinion, who do you think is the best D lineman in football today, maybe outside of Aaron Donald?
Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say, Aaron Donald by far. But you know what? A young guy, Jeff. Jeff is going to be an outstanding football player. Jeff Simmons, if they learn how to use him correctly, he will be an outstanding player. And I don't think he can do the numbers that Aaron Donald does, but he'll be a force that teams will have to scheme around if he does it right.
Hey, do you think that?
No. Sorry, yelling at my dog here.
Do you think the Titans are the team to beat in the division?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, there's too much drama in Houston. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to do anything at the Colts. I think that was a downgrade from Phillip Rivers.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I played against Phillip. He's a great quarterback. He does get a little praise, but yeah, he's probably one of the, I think top 20 quarterbacks of all time. And who else? You got Jacksonville. I mean, I don't think they're going to be anything right now. Maybe in the future they might. I don't know if, how Urban's going to do there, but we'll see. I mean, they got a great quarterback coming in, and Trevor Lawrence, but I don't expect them to beat the Titans.
Interesting. And then I want to ask you, so how did you end up in Knoxville? Like playing at Tennessee.
Playing for the Titans. So how did I like it, or how did it end up?
And for the Volunteers. How did you end up signing with them? Yeah.
Man, it just felt home. I mean, it felt really good. My recruiter was my D-line coach, so I really got to know him extremely well, which is awesome. The support staff that they had around was excellent. And then, just having a ton of players from South Carolina and North Carolina also helped greatly. So, it was just like a little train of talent coming from South Carolina.
Interesting.
Which is now going to Clemson.
Yeah. Do you think Rocky Top's on its way back up, or do you think Clemson's kind of getting everybody?
I don't think they're going to have a stronghold like they used to on South Carolina, but I don't know. Let's see what Josh does. I wish him the best. I've talked to him a number of times, and I actually need to get up there and see him now that I'm feeling a lot better. go up there and talk to him. So I hope he can change it. I definitely hope he can change it around. I mean, it's going to be tough, but that's what he got to do.
Yeah. And then, so what was your draft process like? Do you have any interesting stories or any teams that were kind of asking you weird questions or anything?
The draft? Am I done a draft? Well, like before the draft, you go through I don't know if they were still doing it, but you had to go meet teams. So I went probably like to 12, 13 different teams or something, to see different teams and stuff. And I remember I was actually telling this story the other night. Last night. I remember going to Carolina. So Carolina had the second pick in the draft. And so Jack Del Rio was the D coordinator there. And so at that time, I'm only 20 years old. I was 20 when I got drafted. So I'm 20 years old. And, he was just like, "You think you can play in the NFL?" Like, yeah, well, most definitely. That's why I'm here. And he was like, and then he like yells down at somebody, and it's like, "Hey, what's that guard in Dallas?" And somebody like, "Oh yeah, Larry Allen." He's like, "This dude right here destroyed it." And he like puts on a film of Larry Allen blocking all these people and all this stuff. And just like, yeah, you think you can handle that? I mean, you're just out of college and you got to go against this grown man, blah, blah, blah. Just like all this hype. And think about me, I don't, like you could put a challenge in front of me. Okay. But you're like, yeah, he'll destroy you. He'll do this, do that. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll see. So anyway, I get drafted by the Titans, 15th pick. And guess who our second game of the year is? My second game, NFL game, is Larry Allen, going against Larry Allen. And I remember like just hitting him and jacking him up and like threw him into the quarterback, which is Quincy Carter. And he didn't come back in the game. And I had told my D-line coach, which, I love here, is Jim Washburn. And he was just like, "You're going against him." It's like, "Let's see what you do." And then, like, of course, that game happened. And I did that. And he was like, "Hey, send this to Del Rio. Sam, if you can handle this guy." He's like you handle him pretty well. He's a Hall of Famer. He just like threw him into the quarterback like he was a child. And I mean, it was just, like, don't tempt me. Don't tell me I can't do something or somebody's better than me. Cause that was always my thing. Like, ain't nobody better than me. Like, I'm gonna go out there and dominate. I don't care who you are. I don't care if, Larry Allen or anybody, any Hall of Fame or anything. I didn't care. Like, I was out there to oppose my will on that person, regardless of what their name is or who they are or what team they play for.
Yeah. Who was the toughest quarterback for you to sack in your whole career?
To sack? I mean, the Big Ben, man. He's a big human. You can hit him, and I mean, it's like kind of like tackling the Dlineman, to be honest. Like, he's a big human. So to bring down, he's hard. And then really the really corral was Vick, man. God almighty, that was like, that sucked. Trying, because we were pass rushing, and that's what we did. We literally pass rushing. You can run some of the perfect games, and then he'll scorch you for 30, 40 yards. I mean, that was probably the hardest quarterback to corral, like, ever. I don't think there'd be anybody that is more dangerous than Michael Vick. Like,
not even Lamar?
No, not at all. Mm-mm. I mean, he's close, but no. Vick is a lot faster and quicker than Lamar. I mean, I'm telling you, it's something special on the field. And we absolutely hated playing against that guy. I mean, I'm so glad he wasn't in our conference. And when we did have to play, we're like, oh my God, like, might as well get your track shoes on, no matter what you do. I mean, you gotta. I mean, it's just like the guy's gonna break loose. He's gonna make his plays. I mean, Lamar does too, but like because Vick was smaller. Like Vick was like, about like 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot or so. So he ducked when he like ducked down, you can't even see him. And next he pops out and he's gone. I mean, or you're chasing him and he's just he's kind of like, it's like Chris Johnson at quarterback. Like he's that fast.
Yeah.
Like he's seriously that fast.
Yeah, hell of an arm. He could use a laser and just drop it anywhere he wanted to. So.
Oh yeah. And then you got him on the run and he'll throw it 60 yards. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. I'm telling you, like he's I mean, he doesn't get enough pub at all, but he strikes fear in Dlineman's hearts.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, so fast forward a couple of years, you're having all the success you had, all Pro Bowl seasons, back to back. What was that like, kind of just a little few years into your career, just having all the success?
I mean, it was cool, It was just really, I mean, I didn't look at it that way. It was just playing the game like we're a unit, like the way our D-line played, and how Jim Schwartz, like he just let us play, like we used to like have a lot of blitzes early on and middle of my career at the Titans, and then he kind of just backed off, and because he saw what I was doing and what I could do, and he really just put it on the players' back. Like he was like, "Hey, all right, forget all these blitzes and things like that. I'm just gonna let you rock, and you do you, destroy, and we'll get you back." So I mean, that's what it was, and we had a great time. I mean, a great run,
Yeah, and I want to ask, so how did you end up in Washington?
Man, I was really it was never about the money for me. I mean, that's what my agent did. Mine was more about the attention, the media exposure, because at the Titans, we did some great things, and we barely get any pub on on Sports Center and stuff like that. So because we're a small market team, so that was one thing. I was like telling my agent, like, hey, I want to go to a team with big market. So like if I do the same things with the Titans, then that for a few years, and then I could be like Hall of Fame. And so that's really what we were looking for. I mean, because they were like, "Oh, you just went there for $100 million." I said, "No, like I didn't give a damn about that." I was like, if I was after the money, I would have went to Tampa and got 35 more million. I mean, that's what they offered. They offered 135, and I said no. Like I wanted to come here. So it's the 10th largest market in the world is Washington's media exposure. So that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, so if you could snap your fingers and do it all over again, what would you do differently in DC?
I just would have stayed at Tennessee. I would have stayed at Tennessee and just, because I got my guys there and stuff like that, because you could talk. And I was talking to a lot of guys. A lot of people hate Dan Snyder, but I think he's a great guy. He just wants to win. He's like what I call him, he's like a billionaire fantasy footballer. like literally, he just, Sam, what are you doing? Come here. Sorry, I had to hail on my dog. But, I would have, stayed in Tennessee and played with my friends. But anyway, when I was saying about Dan, so I was talking to Dan and Vinny Serrano and all that stuff, before signing, and I was like, hey, all right, how I had the success is by, what I did, with the Titans. So I said, are we going to do that? And he was like, yeah, that's absolutely what we're going to do. He said, we're going to do the exact same defense that they have, and you're going to be able to do this and that, and everything you did. And they said, They said like they felt like they had better talent at Washington, so they were like, yeah, they said we just need you to do what you do. Well, I never talked to the coaches until I already signed, and yeah, and when we go to OTAs, and they're like, yeah, we ain't doing none of that. And I'm like, really? Like, we're not, like, I mean, so, you know, I mean, like, I talked to the front office guys, not the coaches, and the coach was like, no, we're not doing any of that. So we didn't do any of it. So that's where my career started going down, because I was then made into a kind of a normal player, to like, you know, more handcuffed to, you know, to a position or to a technique. And that was hard, you know, especially after like 3 years of, you know, 2-3 years of doing, kind of being let free, and then to be put the shackles back on sucked.
What were they trying to do that you weren't accustomed to? Just like a different scheme, different, just have maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like oh, it's like really bad if you're out of gap and stuff like that. But you know, I create havoc. So like when I was at the Titans, my linebacker behind me was Keith Bullock, which is still one of my great friends. I call him like a brother. He's a brother.
Oh, cool.
To me, like, and he was like, man, I played 6 yards off the ball. You're crowding the ball. He was like, why can't they, if you get out of gap, as long as you're going to stay in your gap, like if you get out of your gap and go into the wrong gap, you stay there. And he's like, I'll just cover you. You know, I'm far enough. Like, you don't have to, you know, like I don't have to, like, hey, I got to have this gap and he got to have this gap. Like he played, you know, off of me pretty much. And then like we ran a lot of games. So we moved around a lot. We did a lot of different things, and they weren't about that. Not at all. Like they wanted, like, if the offense shift, you got to shift. I mean, it was like nuts. Like they were letting the offense dictate what we did. And I mean, I wasn't used to that. Like shifting. I'm like, once I line up, I'm like laser focused in and just going. And, you know, they were like, nah, they're like, oh, tight end switches over, or running back steps. I mean, it's whatever. And they're like, shift this. Oh, change the defense, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, they're doing this all on the line. Like, so you're not even thinking about getting off the ball. You're not thinking about destroying the person, because that's all it did at Tennessee. Is like, hey, all I has one job is just destroy that person, create havoc. And there, I mean, you got to think about, you know, what you're doing. Like, oh, okay, they said shift right, or unbalance this, or da-da-da. Like, I mean, it was just like a whole bunch of stuff. And I was just like, what in the world? You know, I mean, like, you're killing my get off. That was part of my great game, is my get off. The get into the offensive lineman quickly. And I mean, they pretty much killed that, you know. And then of course, like the next year, you hired this little, you know, mini Mike or whatever, and then you know, he like, oh, you're gonna play 3-4, and you're just gonna grab the center. I'm like in all my years of football, I've never in my life ever done this, ever. And I was like, you guys want to pay me this much money just to grab the center? I mean, that's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, you're literally wasting my talent. And I was just like, I'm not interested in doing that. Like, I'm really not. Like, that's not what I came here for. Like, everything I was like disgruntled. I was like, well, you guys lied to me. Like, just be honest. Like, I'm big about, you know, be honest. Tell me, you know, exactly how it is. And, you know, it was a bunch of crap, you know. So just didn't like it. And then as that just wore me out. I started like just really hating football. And then the next year I go to the Patriots and all that. And I'm just kind of ready to be done, to be honest. Can't wait to get that season over. And I'm just like, I just need a break from all this madness. So,
yeah. Do you think it appears that Washington has kind of changed the culture, especially in the defensive side of the ball, since you were there with Ron Rivera and just kind of all these overhead changes?
Yeah, I mean, Ron's going to run what he wants to run, you know. And that's what Dan started stepping back and really Shanahan or whatever had made it put in his contract where he couldn't talk to the players more than like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like I usually like talk to Dan all the time.
Wait, is that you said you couldn't talk to Dan? You weren't allowed to talk to Dan?
Yeah, no, he could. No, he wasn't. Like he had put in a contract like the owner can only like say, "Hey, how you doing?" Couldn't talk to. Like I would go up to Dan's office and talk and like we're gonna have lunch or something. And he was like, "Man, I just want to win." I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I was super passionate about winning, and when Shannon got there, they're like, I found out they had in his contract where he couldn't like Dan couldn't talk to players more than like passing in the hall, like, "Hey, how you doing?" All this stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. That's how dictatorship that he tried to run, run that team.
So that was in Shanahan's contract that he, I guess, agreed to come there. That Dan would stay kind of far away from the players, aside from casual hellos.
Exactly.
That's unbelievable. I never knew. Do you have any good Dan Snyder stories?
No, I mean, not really. I mean, other than he just walk around, kind of like acting like he's like buff. He kind of has his like hands back, like his chest big, kind of like, man, I just want to win. And he just, that's really all he wanted to do. It's just win. He wanted to win. He wanted to bring a winning franchise, and people hated him for that, like because he would, make changes soon. It's like, but you can't. It's not fantasy football. You can't just buy players, and you got to have the right coach to put them in the right position and things like that. And that's why he would fire coaches so fast. I was like, you got to build a team. It don't happen overnight. This ain't the Yankees. Football is totally different. But like that was his deal.
Yeah, because I remember for a long time, even some people still not big fans of Snyder, obviously because the team hasn't had supreme success in a long time. Do you think he really wants this team to thrive, and that's why I know he grew up a fan, and they've always been said or sell the team. Do you think he really wants to do what it takes to put this team over the top?
Oh, absolutely. You see him like changing now. He's like, he's giving full reign to the coaches, and he's like stepping back. And then now with Riviera being there, I mean, it's gonna be great. Like Dan's stepping back. He's letting a coach do his thing. So Gruden, they gave him like what 5 years, 6 years. I mean, you have one bad season. He was kind of looking to axe you, or 2 bad seasons, you're definitely axed. But he's gonna step back and let him do his thing. So I mean, I see that maturity in as far as being the owner, like that's what he's letting happen. So yeah, I mean, no, and he absolutely loves, which was the Redskins, but now the Washington football team. Champ, come here.
Yeah. And then just one last question for you, because I'm going to let you go. Do you have any bold predictions for next season? Any guys you think might take that next leap?
Hey, hold on. He wants to say, come here, Champ. Champ, get over here. Champ, get here. I got it. You won't believe this is my dog. Come here.
Can I say him?
Yeah, come here. Come here. This is my puppy.
Your dog.
Yeah, I got a little dog.
Oh, cool.
I got a little dog. Ready? Yeah, I know everybody thinks that's my girlfriend's dog. It's like, nope, no girlfriend, just my dog. But yeah. Well, you said a bold prediction for next prediction.
Year. Any hot takes?
I mean, for college or pro?
For the NFL.
I mean, who will go to the Super Bowl next year? I'm gonna ride out with Tom again. Probably be a rematch, to be honest. Honestly, I think it'll be a rematch. In KC and the Bucks, I can see that because the Bucks brought back the same team, so they're only going to get better. They're going to be better early on too. God forbid anybody gets hurt, Like they're gonna be really good. So I think they'll have a better record than they had last year. Yeah, I think it'll be a rematch, to be honest. I mean, I think the Titans are doing good. They're going to win division, but I don't see them I don't see them competing for the Super Bowl. I don't think their defense is there yet. The offense is there, but I think their defense is not.
Interesting. Well, that's what all the questions really have for you. Appreciate you taking the time to chat. This has been a blast, but dude, to me, it doesn't mean a lot.